Jay-Z lost $20 million overnight because his name was put in a lawsuit by a lawyer without the client's permission. There is a recording proving it. Her own voice, confirming he had nothing to do with it, confirming her attorney brought his name into the filing. And while that recording was sitting there, his children were reading those headlines. His wife was living through it. $20 million gone. His family publicly destroyed by a lawyer who had everything to gain from attaching the most famous name in hip-hop to the biggest scandal in music history. And here is what that Alabama courtroom is about to decide. Whether the man who allegedly built a false accusation on a foundation of fame and headlines is finally going to have to answer for it. Let me take you back to October 2024, because that is when everything changed for Jay-Z overnight. A lawsuit landed, filed by attorney Tony Buzbee, the same lawyer who had been running mass litigation connected to Diddy's case, and Jay-Z's name was in it, attached to the most serious allegations imaginable, connected to an alleged incident at an MTV VMAs after-party in the year 2000. And the moment those allegations hit the press, the damage started immediately. Sources say Jay-Z lost $20 million in Roc Nation business contracts almost overnight. Not over months, not gradually, overnight. Companies that had spent years building relationships with his brand quietly started pulling back. Executives who had been in business with him for decades stopped returning calls. Because in the current climate, an allegation like this does not need a conviction to cause damage. It does not need a trial. It does not even need a response. It just needs to exist. And Jay-Z understood something in that moment that most people in his position take too long to accept. That staying quiet was not going to protect him. That the only way through this was to fight. But what he did not know yet was that the evidence he needed to fight back already existed. And it was sitting in a recording that would eventually change everything. And here is the part that gets lost in all the legal noise. Because this was not just a business story. This was a father, a husband, a man who built everything from nothing and spent decades protecting what his name meant to the people he loves most. Jay-Z did not stay quiet when that lawsuit dropped. He came out immediately, and when he spoke, he did not talk about contracts. He did not talk about Roc Nation revenue. He talked about his children, about sitting at a dinner table knowing that somewhere on every screen in the world, his name was attached to something so serious that most people never recover from just the accusation alone. Think about what that actually feels like. Your kids going to school the morning after those headlines drop, their friends having seen it, their teachers having seen it. The silence around a dinner table that used to feel like the safest place in the world. Jay-Z built an empire specifically so his family would never have to feel that kind of exposure. And in one night, one lawsuit, one lawyer's decision to attach his name to a mass litigation filing, all of that protection disappeared. Not because of anything he did, not because of any evidence pointing to him, but because his name guaranteed headlines, and headlines guaranteed attention, and attention was worth more to someone in that moment than the truth. But here is where Jay-Z did something that most people in his position never do. He stopped grieving and started hunting, and what his legal team found changed everything. And when you hear what is on that recording, you will understand why Jay-Z's legal team moved the way they did. ABC News obtained the audio. And what it captured is one of the most significant moments in this entire story. Jane Doe is speaking directly with Jay-Z's private investigators, and they ask her a simple and direct question, whether Jay-Z had anything to do with what she claimed happened to her. And she says yes, he was there. But then the investigator pushes further. He was just there, but he didn't have anything to do with any acts towards you? And she confirms it. He was not involved. He did not do what the lawsuit claimed he did. And then she says something that changes the entire picture of how this lawsuit came to exist. She tells the investigators that Tony Buzbee was the one who brought Jay-Z into the filing, that Buzbee introduced his name into the case, that she never authorized her lawyer to include Jay-Z in a lawsuit against him. Think about what that means for a second. A woman walks into a lawyer's office connected to Diddy's case, and somewhere between that first conversation and the moment that lawsuit hit the press, Jay-Z's name gets added, without her directing it, without her specifically authorizing it, by the lawyer, who had everything to gain from attaching the most famous name possible to a mass litigation filing connected to the biggest celebrity scandal in recent memory. And by the time that recording existed, Jay-Z had already lost $20 million. His family had already been through it. and Tony Buzbee had already generated more press coverage than any other attorney connected to the Diddy litigation. But here is what makes this recording even more devastating than it already sounds. Because Tony Buzbee is not someone who makes mistakes. He is a Texas attorney who ran for mayor of Houston, who built an entire career around understanding exactly how public attention moves and what generates it. And when he decided to file mass litigation connected to Diddy's collapse, he understood something very specific about how that landscape worked. Famous names generate coverage. Coverage generates pressure. Pressure generates settlements, and settlements generate fees. That is the machine, and it runs on attention. So when Buzbee sat across from a client connected to the Diddy litigation and looked at his filing and thought about which name would generate the most immediate global coverage, there was only one answer: Jay-Z. The most famous name in hip-hop, the most recognizable brand in the entire industry. A man whose involvement in anything instantly becomes the story. And sources say that is exactly what happened, not because the evidence pointed there, not because his client directed him there, but because his name was worth more in a headline than any other name Buzbee had available to him. And it worked exactly as calculated. Within hours, Jay-Z was everywhere. Every outlet, every platform, every timeline. $20 million in contracts gone before a single fact was verified in any courtroom anywhere. And Buzbee was suddenly the most talked about attorney in the entire Diddy litigation. The strategy worked perfectly. Until the recording surfaced. Until Jay-Z stopped playing defense. And until an Alabama federal court received a $20 million defamation filing with Tony Buzbee's name on it. Personally, because here is the thing about building a strategy on someone else's name. When that person decides to fight back, they fight back with everything. February 14, 2025. Valentine's Day. That is the date Jane Doe quietly dropped the lawsuit with prejudice, which in legal terms means permanently. It cannot be refiled. It cannot be amended. It cannot be resurrected in any form. The case against Jay-Z is gone. No explanation given publicly, no press conference, no statement from Buzbee explaining why a lawsuit that generated global headlines and cost Jay-Z $20 million in business contracts overnight simply disappeared on Valentine's Day without a word. And here is what that timing tells you. Because lawsuits with genuine evidentiary foundations do not get dropped with prejudice quietly on a federal holiday. They get fought. They get negotiated. They generate counterfilings and motions and press statements from both sides. The fact that this one vanished completely, with no explanation on that specific date, tells you that someone knew something was coming that made continuing the case impossible. And Jay-Z was not interested in letting it end there, because dropping the lawsuit did not give him back those $20 million. It did not unpublish the headlines. It did not sit his family back down at that dinner table and explain that none of it was real. The damage was already done, permanently. And on March 4, 2025, Jay-Z's legal team walked into an Alabama federal court and filed a $20 million defamation lawsuit against Jane Doe and against Tony Buzbee personally. He was not just clearing his name. He was going after the people who he believes built the accusation. And the legal strategy his team deployed to do it is the most unexpected twist in this entire story. Wait, because this is the part that nobody is connecting properly. And when you see it laid out clearly, it reframes this entire story from a defamation case into something that reveals exactly how the legal world around Diddy's collapse is still moving in ways most people cannot see. Jay-Z's legal team did not just file a defamation lawsuit and wait. They went hunting for a weapon, and they found one in the most unexpected place: Diddy's own courtroom losses. Here is what happened. During the Diddy litigation, several anonymous accusers represented by Tony Buzbee tried to maintain their anonymity throughout the proceedings. They filed under pseudonyms. They argued that revealing their identities would expose them to danger and harassment. And the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, the same court currently holding Jay-Z's criminal appeal, ruled against them. The judges decided those anonymous accusers had not demonstrated a genuine concrete risk of harm that justified permanent anonymity. Their identities could be challenged. And Jay-Z's legal team picked up that ruling, walked it directly into the Alabama federal court, where his defamation case is sitting, and filed it as evidence. Their argument is surgical. If the Second Circuit just ruled that anonymous Diddy accusers cannot hide behind pseudonyms without demonstrating real danger, then Jane Doe cannot hide behind a pseudonym in Jay-Z's defamation case either. The same lawyer, the same pattern of litigation, the same standard should apply, which means Diddy's legal defeats, the ones we have been covering on this channel for months, are now being used as a weapon by one of his closest industry friends against a woman connected to his own case. The irony of that is almost impossible to overstate, and the case is still active, still unresolved, still moving through an Alabama federal court right now.
Anyone that's on that little balcony, it's literally as big as this. It's a little bitty old balcony, and there's a window just like that that you can see onto the balcony. The apartment is like a dorm. It's very small. There's no way you can be in that apartment and hide. If you're in the apartment, people know you're in the apartment. It's a little small apartment. No offense to the apartment complex, but that's what it is.
And here is where the psychological weight of this story lands hardest. Because think about what Jay-Z is actually asking that Alabama court to do. He is not just asking for $20 million. He is asking a federal judge to force Jane Doe to reveal her identity publicly, to remove the anonymity that has protected her throughout this entire process. And his argument for why that should happen is built on the same legal logic that stripped anonymity from Diddy's accusers in the Second Circuit, which means the woman at the center of this case, who dropped the lawsuit quietly on Valentine's Day without explanation, is now facing the possibility of having her name become public in a defamation proceeding she cannot walk away from. Because Jay-Z filed that case, not her, and you cannot drop someone else's lawsuit. Sources say the pressure that creates is unlike anything in a standard civil case. Because Jane Doe is not the plaintiff anymore, she is the defendant. And the man suing her has the recording, has the Second Circuit ruling, has $20 million in documented business losses, and has a legal team that has been building this case methodically since the moment that original lawsuit dropped. Jane Doe filed a motion to dismiss Jay-Z's defamation case. That motion is still active, still unresolved. The case is still alive in an Alabama federal court. And sitting here watching this unfold, what strikes me most is how completely the dynamic has flipped. The woman who filed the lawsuit is now defending herself in someone else's. The lawyer who generated global headlines by attaching the biggest name in hip-hop to mass Diddy litigation is now personally named in a $20 million defamation suit. And the man who lost everything overnight is the one holding the recording. And this is where the power completely flips. Because think about where Jay-Z was 12 months ago. His name in every headline, his contracts gone, his children reading those headlines, his family living through something they had no part in creating, and Tony Buzbee generating more press coverage from that one filing than from anything else in his entire career. That was 12 months ago. Look at where everything stands right now. The lawsuit Jay-Z's name was attached to, dropped with prejudice on Valentine's Day, cannot be refiled, cannot be amended, gone. The recording of Jane Doe confirming his non-involvement, public, her own voice, on tape, obtained by ABC News and heard by the entire world. The defamation case Jay-Z filed against Jane Doe and Buzbee personally, active in an Alabama federal court, $20 million. His name on the filing. Moving forward, and the weapon his legal team is using to force Jane Doe's identity into the open. Diddy's own courtroom losses. The Second Circuit ruling that stripped anonymity from Diddy's accusers is now sitting in an Alabama courthouse being used against someone connected to the same lawyer who filed those cases. The man who lost $20 million overnight is now the one holding the recording, the ruling, the defamation case, and the silence. Because Tony Buzbee, the lawyer who generated global headlines by attaching the most famous name in hip-hop to a mass litigation filing, has gone very quiet since that defamation suit landed. And in every case this community has covered together, silence from powerful people is never nothing. It is always something. And we will be here when it finally breaks, and that is where we land today. And if you have been with this community from the beginning, you already know what this story is really about, underneath all the legal maneuvering. It is about what happens when the legal machinery built around a massive scandal starts moving faster than anyone can control. Tony Buzbee filed dozens of cases, attached dozens of names, generated headlines that cost real people real money before a single fact was verified in a courtroom. And now one of those people, the one with the most resources and the most determined legal team, is fighting back with a recording, with a Second Circuit ruling, with $20 million in documented losses, and with a defamation case that Jane Doe cannot simply walk away from the way she walked away from her own lawsuit on Valentine's Day. Jay-Z did not ask for this fight. He did not create the circumstances that put his name in those headlines, but he is finishing it, methodically, surgically, using the very courtroom losses of the man whose scandal started all of this as the weapon to expose the person who allegedly helped put his name in the middle of it. And sitting here watching this unfold from Oslo, what strikes me most is the silence from Buzbee. the lawyer who generated more press coverage from the Diddy litigation than almost anyone else involved, has gone very quiet since that defamation filing landed. And in our experience covering these cases, silence from powerful people is never nothing. It is always something. Now I want to hear from this community. Do you think Jay-Z's defamation case forces the truth out of that Alabama courtroom? Or does this get settled quietly before anyone has to answer for it, publicly? Drop your answer in the comments right now. And if you want to understand every legal move that created the courtroom rulings Jay-Z is now using as weapons, we broke all of it down in our Diddy appeal breakdown right here on Fame Insight. If you have been with us, you already know how deep that one went. I will see you there.
Lawyers for Jay-Z have filed a defamation lawsuit against the anonymous woman and her lawyers who accused Jay-Z of raping her, saying they knew the allegations were made up. Jane Doe dropped her sexual assault lawsuit against Jay-Z last month without any public explanation. Jay-Z says she and her lawyers have since admitted the allegations were fabricated.